Welcome everybody to the weekly WP Roundup with BJ Keeton. That's me. Every Friday afternoon we get together and we talk about the best WordPress related news, tutorials, and resources that were published this week. So we have a very active comment section. I encourage you to follow along with all of the links that we're talking about that are in the description of the video. And really just let's get to know each other. If you have any questions, say hi. We have a fantastic community, so let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is say hello to everybody. I see Marius on Facebook, Jazzy and Vikash and Beverly, and everybody's already back and in the comments. That is awesome. I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic Friday. It is just absolutely nuts. So I'm glad that it's Friday. So to start off with, I always want to bring up, well, I don't always want to, I periodically want to bring up that the Elegant Themes blog does have open submissions. So I want to let you guys know that if you've wanted to contribute, if you have an idea that you want the wider WordPress world to know about, then just click on the very first link in the description and it will take you to our open submission process. We really want to be able to get as many wonderful ideas out there as possible, and we know you guys have those. So make sure you check it out. We pay you for your work because it is work. So check that out and see what we can come up with. I cannot wait to see what you guys get together and put together for our blog. I'm seeing Vero from Spain. That is awesome. Jonathan from Venezuela. It is awesome. Jack in Facebook, we have a wonderfully active comment section everywhere today. That makes me really happy. A lot of times the Facebook comments are not nearly as active as YouTube, but today I'm going to have my work cut out for me, I think. So that said, I want to move into the news section. I've put some stuff up in the news that I think you guys should know about. Sometimes if you're new here, we go through major things that are happening in the WordPress world, new releases, beta candidates, things like that. Sometimes it's just stuff that we feel that you should know about, that is just good to have on your radar. And today, the first thing on here is one of those you need to have it on your radar things, where Raquel, our new content team member here at Elegant Themes, was on WP Water Cooler last week. So, or maybe it was this week. It was this week. And I wanted to make sure that you guys knew about that the link in the description is to the video they posted on Facebook of the interview. So it is awesome. And give Raquel all the love that you can. She is knocking it out of the park. She is our community manager. You'll see her a lot in the Divi Theme Users Facebook group. And if you're a Divi Nation meetup, interested in the Divi Nation meetups, she's helping run those, or running those, really, I should say, coordinating the people who are doing it locally. So she's doing good stuff. So you should go support her and see her repping ET at the with the WP Water Cooler folks. Excuse me, I see RJ in South Africa saying hi. Francisco in Chile, man, I love seeing this. The reason I do this is I love seeing what a wonderful community that from all over the world that we have, and just seeing everybody who tunes in, like across all times of day. Like it's 2 p.m. for me, but I know that it's 8 p.m. for some people and like 3 a.m. for others, and it's just crazy, and I'm very excited to have this many people like from all over the world tune in. So thank you. You are awesome and appreciated. So that said, the next thing I wanted to talk about was just very briefly, I wanted to bring this up because periodically I do want to keep in mind that if you haven't moved into the block editor yet, and that's fine if you haven't, Torque Mag has put up an article about 4 things to expect from WordPress this year. We just finished up the very first quarter of the year, which means that the plans that people made at the end of last year and started to get them rolling this, I say semester, but this quarter, are really going to start picking up steam and gaining traction as we move forward in the year. So Torque Mag put together an article about this, and the number one thing they put on this list, and it's why I included it here, was that there is gonna be, they see, a greater reliance on the block editor. Now, I put this in the news because you're probably sitting there thinking, it's like, yeah, we know they released this. We don't have the tiny MCE anymore, BJ. But the reason that I included this today is because more and more and more plugins are supporting the block editor and eschewing new features outside of the classic editor. So I want to make sure that you are aware of this. And I know you're aware of it, but I want to make sure that you consider this more than anything else. I want you to be able to think on how that affects your clients, how that affects your design agency, your dev agency, how that affects everything from your usage of it, because sometime in the near future, and the classic editor is still being supported by WordPress until 2021, you don't have to worry about that, but you may have to worry about it being supported by particular plugin developers and things like that. We just want you to know about that, to think about that, and see over the next year what kinds of things are changing, just in case that means a pivot on your end in terms of how you use it, how you train clients to use WordPress, and things like that. So there's nothing catastrophic going on with it. Don't let me scare you on that. I just wanted you to keep in mind that with the greater reliance on it, it will substantially shift the landscape of how we approach using WordPress and using these third-party softwares with it. I see Madalena says it's 10 p.m. in Romania, which is crazy to me because I'm asleep at 10 p.m. every night because I'm an early riser. I see in the comments that Kaiser, probably pronouncing that wrong, I apologize, asked Divi versus Elementor. And obviously we are very, there are a lot of people who can chime in on this in the comments who are very passionate about it one way or the other. And I see a lot going back and forth. And I know that there are people who, let me think how to put this. There are people who use both of them on a regular basis and can see the ups and downs. So there's a good discussion to be had there from regular users, I think. But obviously, I am a Divi person. I was a Divi person before I worked at ET, so I just like the flow of it better. I like the UI and everything like that. So they both do good things. They both do slightly different things at this point, and you can use them in different ways. So both. But really, obviously, Divi is where my heart lies. But there is a good discussion that can be had there in the comments. So please do, but keep it nice. So going back to that one article from Torque Mag, it talks about that the other thing that I wanted to bring up to just for you guys to keep in mind is that development from the WordPress core and automatic are going to be getting a lot more community feedback, and that's going to kind of push the way that we approach development and new feature releases. They have hired an executive director and a marketing and communications lead for WordPress, and that means that we're getting a lot more say in it because there was a lot of drama that went on with WordPress 5.0's release. And so we're going to be seeing a much more vocal community, and we're going to have a place to go as a community to be vocal. So I think that that's something they talk about that's really, really good for all of us to know about. And you can look at that in the Torque Mag article. Again, the other couple are expanded service offerings from web hosts as more and more complicated and complex and robust themes and plugins are released, hosts have to really do a lot more to keep up. So it'll be interesting to see what they do for that. And then they talk about a more accessible WordPress, which isn't a more easier to download and install, but an actual accessibility to WordPress to make it more usable by everyone, not just the standard way that people use the web. So I think it's a really interesting article, and they make some very good points that will apply to every last one of us. I see in the comments, I see that RJ says that he loves both of the plugins, and that Video Superhero says Divi needs to pay attention to how it renders out pages for performance and Google Page Score. It's seemingly ignored, which could lead to big problems. I will say that I know that this is being worked on. I saw the issue in GitHub this morning, and that is being worked on as we speak. So I can actually say I don't know any, the dev process, all of that, but I do know for a fact that I was looking through the discussion on the GitHub issue about page speed and loading and how to address that today. So so at least video I can say with assuredness that we are with surety, and I can surely say that is a priority. So I promise. Also, I see that Marius has a team in South Africa. Wow, that's awesome. 2 South Africa viewers. That's fantastic. Makes me very, very happy. I don't know why, it does. So moving forward into the rest of the news, they announced that WordCamp for publishers is going to be in Columbus, Ohio this year. It's August 7th to 9th. And they're looking for speakers right now. The call for speakers is open for the WordCamp for publishers. And this is different than a traditional WordCamp. And I think that some of you will have something to say here because you are really the people who are doing this kind of stuff. This is not a WordCamp for users. This is not a WordCamp for the general WordPress community to go there. Like the general WordCamps, you and your clients could go there. But this is specifically for people who are putting out content onto the web with WordPress. And so it's a really, really last year was the first one. It went really, really well. And with it being in Columbus, Ohio this year, and them looking for speakers, I thought that some of you would want to look at that, and see if there's anything that you could contribute, or maybe if there was a talk that you wanted to give, because I know you have the expertise to do so. I just wanted to make sure you had the opportunity to do that. I see RJ says, I would love it if Divi can import a website pack with one click, please. What do you mean by website pack? Because I know that like right now, like our layout packs, is that what you mean with the individual pages that you have to load on there? Is that what you mean, where you would get the entire like mortgage company all at once? Is that one of the things what you mean, or is it an external pack like importing into the Divi library? Just clarify for me. So also, this is really big for me. When I saw this on WP Tavern, this next one, I wanted to talk about it's a GPL licensed Quirk app is what it's called. And I read about this on WP Tavern, and it is a cognitive behavioral therapy app. And they talked about this because it's kind of a big thing in tech right now for self-care and mental health. And with WP Tavern talking about this, it's licensed and open source, just like WordPress. So that was one of the reasons they were talking about it. But also, there's a link in the resources of this video for a new podcast and a new service called WP and Up, which also deals with mental health and tech and WordPress specifically. So I saw this, and it was the kind of thing where you can type it in if you have like negative thoughts, that it helps you reframe that. Like if you're feeling like I messed everything up, I ruined that interview, it gives you different ideas on how you can frame that are more constructive than that. And I know from personal experience, not with this app, but with just different things, that has helped me be able to move through a lot of different problems and really progress in my career and as a person by looking at things in a slightly different perspective. So that's a very interesting app that I thought some of you guys might get some use out of. So I wanted you to know about it. And then the very last thing under news, before I get back to the comments, is WP Mayor, the website we see a lot on this show and is a very major WordPress blog, is looking for a support specialist. They're hiring for about 20 hours a week. They're looking for a freelancer right now. It is the way that they've put it. They need someone who is experienced in supporting WordPress, which I'm assuming you guys would have. You don't have to be a developer, but they want someone who is there to help other people use it, which is really good. Just because it's a support specialist, not a development engineer. Excellent command of the English language, and if you speak other languages, that's great. Support is turning into a multilingual field right now, and that really can get you a lot of positions. Some technical skills are needed, CSS, HTML, uploading and removing plugins through FTP, the stuff that you're, again, probably doing on a daily basis. And then they were talking about being available for 20 hours a week, and that they prefer someone with PHP and JavaScript experience. It's a remote job. It's doing support for their WP RSS aggregator. And whenever I see a job like this posted that I think would be really good, like this checks so many boxes for so many of you, that if you're looking, that is the last thing under news. So you can definitely check out that job position. Job posting, excuse me, and talk about and let them know what you got going on. So I want to talk. We'll get to the comments since I've gotten through there. Sorry, I got distracted by the comments as I occasionally do. RJ, the layout packs is what RJ had meant earlier when he talked about, importing a website pack with one click. I don't expect that to happen, RJ. Reason being, we wanted to create them modularly so that you could mix and match them without taking up extra bandwidth and server space. Because every time you import any of the individual pages, it imports those images as well as the CSS and all the files that go along with it. And we wanted to make sure that if you just wanted to use the landing page for the mortgage brokers, that you could use the about page for the lawyers with it without really clogging up your server and having to delete dozens and dozens and dozens of images at the same time. From a user's perspective, absolutely, I think that would be a wonderful, wonderful thing. And not even users, from an user experience thing, it would be great. I think that the downside of doing that would probably be more irritating than the use that it would. I don't even know how to put it. Then it would be worth, really, on your end. So don't expect that one. I'm going to try to adjust my volume. I see that that was Donald says that it's down, which is a little weird. Let me see if I can adjust this. Find the knob for that. Hopefully that will do it a little bit. Hopefully that didn't blow your ears out now. I see Alma Moon asks why we removed the Divi carousel module in the new Divi, and I don't know. I actually wasn't aware that we did. So that's something that I cannot answer. Maybe someone else, if there's a staff member watching, and they would be able to answer that, but I am absolutely unable to. I apologize for that, Alma Moon. I see Umang, I'm sorry, on Facebook. Facebook wants me to say something so that Elegant Themes knows I'm here, so you're there. I'm glad you're here. Also see lots of people coming in, so that's great. I see Augustine's in there. I apologize if the audio is still there. I know that everything on my end is turned up. Let me try this one thing there. Okay. So that was the news. Those were the things that I thought were really great that I needed no matter what for you guys to find out about. I think that the tutorials this week are also really good. So if you're new to the show, if you are just tuning in, we're finishing up the news. We're moving into the tutorials, and as always, this video will be archived on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. So whenever the live stream is over, you'll be able to go back to it and watch it and find these links anytime. You should also be able to find the last 2 years almost worth of links if you do that as well on our Facebook pages or Facebook page and YouTube channel. So you can have some fun digging through those. But moving into the tutorials, Get Flywheel had a really interesting article on how to prevent and troubleshoot plugin conflicts, and it really breaks down what they are. This is one of the more in-depth ones that I've seen. Rather than just telling you what to do, it breaks down what you exactly how you should do it. It breaks down what you should be looking for and things like that. So if you ever get into it and you need to figure out a plugin compatibility issue, that it really is the ultimate guide to fixing it. I haven't seen one that actually goes into that much detail in a long time. Um, Also on our blog, Gino, whose last name I butcher every time, so I'm not going to say it, has published an article on how I built a successful Divi white label business. And you can read it, go through. You can go back and listen to the Divi Nation podcast that he did with Nathan a long time ago, which is still very relevant. But the one thing that I wanted to mention on here that's not so much that you to try to get you hooked into it is he talks about how he did this and how you can do this. And the number one thing that stuck out to me is not talking about them as being clients anymore. That if you're going to do this as a white label business, you can talk about people as partners, that you're partnering with somebody to do this, and that gives a lot more power to the relationship. It builds a much more stable foundation rather than the client freelancer kind of or client agency relationship. If you're looking at it as a partnership to get this project done, there's a lot more that can be done there. I think that was a really good, really good insight from him, and I'm gonna work on doing that kind of thing myself because it was new to me to think about referring to people you work with as partners like that, because I'm always used to clients and patrons and that kind of thing, but it's not a bad idea to consider them partners. I think that kind of relationship will is one of the most important things that you can have. Like we said before, we don't want those clients that we or partners that we orbit and we all orbit each other. So like we talked about a couple of weeks ago. So the third one down is one that I need to do and have not ever done and taken the time to do it. It's how to make your own URL shortener with WordPress. That you can make your own short URL. You don't have to use Bitly. You don't have to use the old goo.gl. You don't have to use any of these outside of Twitter and Facebook's and Amazon's when they automatically do it. But that's how they do it is they go through this process, and maybe not with WordPress, but there are URL shortener plugins. There are services that you can use for this. There's SSL. I mean, they go through everything on getting the links and all of it. It's really cool. I need to do this. I've wanted a short URL thing forever that I can use as a redirect, and just haven't. So this is a really interesting one on doing it with using WordPress as a redirect to it. It's pretty cool. Um, oh, excuse me, I'm gonna scoot up just a little bit here. RJ asks, says that he gets my point. They get my point. And it. Oh no, no sound. Is there sound now? I'm gonna move this. I'm showing that sound is coming through on my end. Is it? Yeah, volume's back. I'm fairly certain there's something in my mic cable that I have to adjust. That's really weird. That's fading in and out because I've had that happen when it goes like moving it and adjusting. I've had to get it right. Super weird that's doing it all at once. I will definitely check that out after the stream. But I see that RJ was saying that it would be great if you could choose multiple pages to import automatically. It would save time and the pages could just be created automatically. That's a really good point. I will. I'm sure people are watching now, and I will make a note of that because it's not a bad idea. I know that there are plans for an updated Divi library as well. So hopefully that kind of thing may be implemented with it. I don't know what it will entail either. I see that. Video Superhero asks, why would people use a URL shortener? Does that help or hinder SEO? Generally, I don't see it hindering SEO because it is not a typical, it's not, it doesn't refer back to the primary domain that you're trying to get link juice to. What it is for sharing and tracking, that way that you can have somewhere, that you just want people to remember it. Like when I was giving away books, I would tell people to go to like bit.ly.com/bjbook or whatever it was, BJK book or something like that. And they would be able to just go and remember it. That kind of thing is one of the really, really useful things, so that you don't have like the question mark UTM and they see everything that they won't be able to remember and it's just ugly. I've never known of it to affect SEO because generally it's a 301 that you're doing from the shortened domain to the one that you are redirecting to, so it will pass like 95% of the link juice to the target domain. It shouldn't affect that at all. Generally, it's vanity and remembering and marketing. I've seen people use shorteners for individual projects, that you would have a shortener, not even just so much a 301, but a shortener for certain like book releases, promos, when you're doing different kinds of contests that you want to track individual entries to, things like that. I've seen people use shorteners in some really interesting ways that a lot of people have used. That a lot of people have used like UTMs and other kind of analytics for. Video says be careful because shorteners like to set a cookie and then redirect, so not a pure 301. I will look into the ones that I used from now on. That I wasn't aware of the cookie. Thank you. And Uncle Social says, I'm primarily a social media marketer and URL shortening is great for tracking and keeping post links short. Old people on Facebook would be freaked out by a huge long URL. And young people, and I'm not even saying I'm young at this point, but me, whenever I see a long URL at this point, I think somebody doesn't know what they're doing. And I know that that's silly, but if I see like 5-line URL on Twitter or on Facebook, I'm like, why'd you do that? Is there something up? Should I trust you? But I think that's my own cynicism talking on that one. I also saw RJ says that I read somewhere that you must apparently my Google My Business will roll out a feature to shorten URLs. I would love that because I loved the goo.gl shortener that they've stopped doing. So if they were to implement that into My Business, that would be great for small businesses to be able to do that and set up a secondary domain on their own. Even if they didn't get to do it as a secondary, that would be great. I see someone is Crates Gaming is asking when the theme builder is coming. It's due from years. It was about a year ago that we ended up previewing that on the blog, and I know that it is approaching getting done. I know that it should be relatively soon. I think Nick said within month, maybe, is what he said on a comment on that one during our last feature release. So look for it soon. I think it is being finalized. It's not one of those pipe dream vaporware things. We're setting the stage with some of the current releases to make sure that everything rolls out smoothly, because it's a big feature, and we want to make sure that that it works. But it is getting super close. So that is something I can say with confidence, that it's getting close. It's no longer soonish. It's actually soon. So I'm glad to finally be able to say that. I see Marius on YouTube or on Facebook says something a lot of designers are talking about in SA is the fact that Divi's not working great on page load speeds. Are you guys working on that? Yeah, Marius, we are. I saw a GitHub issue on it today, actually, on ways to do that with to really maximize page speed. There are ways that can be done. We don't feel Divi is terribly heavy and weighted because a lot of people can get good, really high page speeds on it. But we see ways that we can absolutely improve it. And like I said, I saw that on GitHub today. And so that is being worked on and addressed right now. And man, my sound is dropping. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm literally not touching anything but my my computer, and it's showing in the green here. So weird. Classic Google, Uncle Social says, killing goo.gl only to bring another link shortening service, and I wonder if it will include another chat client. Don't forget that it will also have a collaboration tool involved with it as well. I'm a little cynical toward Google these days with the number of things that they cancel, because I am very upset that I lost my Inbox app on my phone and the Inbox website, because now the Gmail app has ads in it on my phone, and I'm irritated every day at it, and I'm going to have to get a new email client because I hate it. Anyway, that is absolutely neither here nor there. Yoast, of course, love Yoast blogs. They posted an article called Rank with that cornerstone content. And I wanted to not only talk about the really good tips that they bring up in this, that they talk about, but also I want you guys, from a marketing standpoint, from a content creating standpoint, and really from every standpoint in terms of using WordPress, I want you to consider cornerstone content. What they are they're pillar articles. They're the ones that bring people into your site and let you branch off of them with giant. It's the giant article, and you branch off with smaller, more specific topics. If your clients want to rank, if you want to be the authority on something, then creating cornerstone content really works very well. And Yoast pushes cornerstone content heavily. There's actually included in the Yoast SEO plugin, and is this cornerstone content, so that you can get different analysis. I'm sure SEO. All-in-one SEO does, and others, but I know Yoast does, because that's what I use. And this it's great. As they put it, that you need a kick-ass internal linking structure, because you can really do a lot to promote click-through and then refer people in every direction around this cornerstone content. And they talk about not only what you need to do, but what you don't need to do. They say that adding the keyword to the title of every page is not helpful. That you should use a key phrase only once. You don't need to write 200 articles around variations of the key phrase without a single central article linking them all together. So even if you are ranking on those, you can do better. Yoast is showing that if you have a piece of cornerstone content. And what this may mean for different people is that you need to do a content audit of a site. If you're looking at a client site that this kind of pillar content, this cornerstone content is worth rearranging and putting the work into, because sometimes you're having to take an existing article, make it a cornerstone by combining and updating it, and then doing the link structure in and out of all the different ones and kind of weaving them together. But it is absolutely worth it. They talk about which keywords you should target, how to position it on your site, like where it needs to be. Is it a core page on your site? Is it a blog? How do you need to do that? You need to find it very quickly from like headers and menus. It also says that you don't create other pages with that same keyword being used, and in case it ranks for that. And then there are lots of other ways to do it, but they break it down. Very good article, and one that I firmly believe is something that more sites are going to be doing, because it is one of the lasting ways that SEO has not changed. Like, so much has changed over the years, but when I started really blogging in 2008, it was they were talking about doing cornerstone and pillar articles then, and to be able to bring traffic in. I mean, in 11 years, it hasn't changed. So if you're not focusing on that, it's a good idea to start at least thinking about looking at it. I see Donald is following up from last week. I had a client ask me about a maintenance contract this week, and I offered him a remittance agreement as an upsell. All maintenance benefits plus 1 hour response time. Did they agree to it? Did they like that? That's a really good idea, especially adding in. I like the retainer. Excuse me, autocorrect. He says, but that's a really good idea in terms of approaching it from adding response time in. Like, premium support is something that people really do pay for and that they want, because a lot of us, all of us, are under a crunch for the number of clients and customers and patrons and partners that we have. So offering a 1 hour response time as a kind of paid perk for your clients, it's a great idea. I hope they took you up on it. Did they? Because I'm really curious. Oh, you're waiting for confirmation after Easter break. That's awesome. Let us know. Let me know next Friday how that worked, because I'm glad to see that some of the stuff that was linked here, is actually being put to use. So that makes me very happy. Uncle Social brings up a good point about that one. Does the 1 hour response time work within office hours or 24/7? I'm hoping that is going to be office hours, or at least within set hours that there are turn-off hours. If not, think about that, because the last thing you want is being woken up at 3 a.m. for a WordPress problem, unless it is, I want to say life and death, but I guess the revenue and death. I see Marius on Facebook says, when it comes to cornerstone content, you really want to think about what content you want to make cornerstone content. If you get it wrong, you may waste a lot of time figuring out why you're not ranking. And that is very true. I tried to do that with one of my fitness blogs. I thought that, hey, I can do this. I can take these like 6 articles that do really well on their own and put together a cornerstone and have it do it, and it ruined everything. Like, I chose poorly. I chose the keyword poorly. The research I did was just not good. The way I implemented it was apparently terrible. Just everything about my way of approaching that particular topic that I wanted to kind of move myself up the ranks literally for did not work. I did not consider all of the variables that were going into that I realized much later were needed to be taken into account. I think you're right that it takes a lot of time figuring out why you're not ranking. I think that's one of the most annoying things about SEO, really. So thank you for bringing that up, Marius, is figuring out why you don't rank. That you have fantastic content. You've done everything right. Maybe every last thing in Yoast and All-in-One SEO or Squirrely is saying you're doing this perfect, and you don't rank. Like, there's something out there that you're not aware of or that you have to track down, and maybe it's a URL that needs to be disavowed, or maybe that it's just too competitive of a keyword and you don't have the authority and can't get the domain authority. It's just there's 1,000 things going on, but you're right, that is got to be careful. I've been messed up for that one. I see Uncle Social asked where my dog calendar is over here. It is now over here that you probably can't see my hand at all. It's over that direction. The reason being is I got to get myself back into running, and so I started putting up medals and some of my race bibs so that I see them every day. Just I'm sitting staring at them to remind myself that I need to get back active again. So I see Donald says I offered 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday. Good hours. That is perfectly reasonable. No Sundays. You have a bedtime. You have early mornings. You have evenings for family and friends and personal time. That is not absurd at all. That's roughly the do not disturb hours that I keep on my Slack and everything myself, and that I did when I was at the college as well. So that's awesome. I see Video Superhero says an Elegant Themes blog post is ranking higher than my site. Is this a sorry, not sorry thing? This is a sorry, not sorry time, isn't it? No, it's hard when that happens. That there are some times when I've seen places that I like, that I've wanted to like be a part of that community, that have ranked higher than me when I feel like I should have ranked higher too. It's I understand that. I'm gonna still go with sorry, not sorry, but I do know the feeling on that one. But hey, same page. I see. I'm gonna mess this one up. M. Newman Khan, I'm really gonna mess that up. I'm sorry. Divi or Avada, comparison and my thoughts. I don't know Avada. This is a new one to me. Somehow I've completely missed this one. I'm typing it in now so I'll know about it and can look it up. The Fusion Builder, all that, no, I do not know that at all. I vaguely have heard of Theme Fusion and the Fusion Builder and stuff, and haven't really heard of Avada and the Avada theme with it. Maybe someone in the audience, maybe someone in the comments on Facebook or YouTube, that was a question on YouTube. I don't know. Maybe one of them will be able to answer that one. That's one that I've not actually touched. So I apologize on not being able to. A lot of them I play with just to know what the competition is like, what is going on out there. I like to know what all of them are doing. That's one I don't know about. Video Superhero says the one that's ranking 11 examples of actor websites built with WordPress. That I don't know. It may just be an optimization thing. It could be the I don't know on that one. Because that's not one that is directly related to our company, where you have Google doing the link to Divi, link to Elegant Themes, and linked and kind of works them together, because that will happen. But afterwards, I don't know. That was not one that I had my hand in, so I can't say anything on that one. I know that we've done a restructuring of categories, so that might be part of it on just how we're trying to optimize our previous categories and moving into new ones. As you probably noticed on our blog with the marketing and design and WordPress categories and business and things like that moving in, that could have had something to do with it when we actually started focusing in more on, instead of separating it out, that may be in our design category now, let's say, where it's actor website design being the phrase, which goes back into honestly the cornerstone content kind of thing, that while this isn't a cornerstone piece, it's one that we were working on a core structure of the site in terms of our internal linking, that might have moved that one up. That one, like I said, I wasn't a part of that particular article, so I'm not sure of any individual post level stuff that was done to it. I see Marius, says on Facebook, to come back to the retainer idea, that clients, I usually give them my after hours number and specify that it's only until 10 p.m. They love the fact that they have a personal number, and they usually end up becoming my friends. That happened to me with students, actually. That's a really good point on even if it's a like a Google Voice number that goes into Hangouts or something, giving them a cell number like that is a great way to build that kind of connection where they don't have your like private number, but they have a number that they can just text. That is a great way to build relationships, and telling them that you can just text me. I've had students text me about the weirdest things. The weirdest, though, was Snapchat, when I had someone give me a 10-second snap of, am I studying the right thing? And I have no idea. You sent me a 10-second thing that I can look at your entire bed to see what you had open on your books. But that kind of thing with my students, it did build better relationships, and I can totally see how that would with like retainer clients, you becoming friends and talking. The same things happen to me on here, talking with people outside that I've become friends with, who've contacted me differently. So that's one thing. M. Newman, going to the Vada question, that's the number one framework on Theme Forest. I need your solid thoughts in terms of building in the future, building with Divi or Avada. I'm going to say Divi, and I'm saying Divi on the not as an Elegant Themes employee who is very confident and comfortable in the future of the company and the product, but as a Divi user beforehand, I really have to say that using Divi from where I was when I started in at late 2016, early 2017 to now, how much better it is, and the things that I know that are coming down the pipeline, the stuff I've seen in terms of what's coming, and the stuff that I've seen just in terms of the company. I will say that simply the nature of the community and the things that we have in store, like we have the marketplace coming up. The marketplace should be released sometime within the near future, where we're going to have a lot of third-party developer plugins available through marketplace on our site, where that kind of thing is basically the official vetted ones that we know work and can say. That's something that we feel like our product, more than anything else, outside of being a fantastic piece of software that we truly believe in, is we want to give the community as much as we possibly can. So I think that our focus on that really would sell me, even if I weren't an employee, that you don't get that from a Theme Forest theme, and not knocking that, because I've bought Theme Forest themes. I mean, they have done me super well over the years. The first premium theme I ever bought was, second premium theme I ever bought was a Theme Forest theme. The first one was Thesis, actually. And, but I think that the community stuff, like the marketplace, and what features and the constant updates, I think that Divi just has a lot going on for it right now. I'm honest. It's that's really where it would stand for me, is we do like giveaways every year. We're looking into a lot of different ways to build the community. We have with the Facebook groups and the marketplace specifically, bringing in community developers as well as that will give us a much broader spectrum of features that you will have in Divi that you just won't be able to get from another theme out there and another builder. So I would, as a user, go to Divi if I hadn't already gone to Divi before I became an employee. So I try to always put it that way, because obviously I work here and I wouldn't do it if I didn't believe in the product. But I was a believer in the product before I was even an employee. So I like it. Uncle Social says if Divi was on Theme Force, maybe it would be number one. Here's hoping. I think it would. I think we'd be up there. So I want to move forward just a little bit. I love these discussions. I always do. I love them, y'all. Don't ever stop. Don't stop being awesome. I want to move just a little bit further because there are just a few things. I'm not going to be able to get to everything this week as per usual, but the next to last article under tutorials, it is Ibenic, where it is getting better as a WordPress developer. And I loved this article so much that I had to include it, because it's not a straight up do this and you will be, it's not a straight up do this and you will be a better developer. It's not that. It's actually giving you things that you can implement slowly. And this is some of these work for designers as well, but plugin developers, anybody who works with WordPress can do this. Like they talk about code reviews. Get somebody else to look at your stuff. Content, do that. Like the number one, having someone else's eyes on whatever you do to get feedback on and have it reviewed for best practices and all of that is paramount. We have changed a couple of things behind the scenes on the content team, and I know for a fact it has made things better on the blog over the last few months. Writing unit tests as a developer, reading all the handbooks, like the official documentation, just making yourself familiar with that, applying WordPress coding standards. Even if you're a writer, you can follow a style guide. Make sure that all of your content sticks to the AP style guide, and you will have a standard with which you can gauge the success of your writing. Working with other people helps you grow. And if you're a developer, like building extensions for popular plugins, Divi Builder, and learning from others, looking at the professionals in your field, seeing what they do, and reverse engineering their stuff. I cannot write a full JavaScript program or really script from scratch, but I can get in there and be dangerous enough to break it and modify the ones that are there, because that's what I've done, is looking at others and going back. So that kind of thing makes you a better writer, developer, and just WordPress user in general. I'm going to let that one go on for just a minute in the comments and move forward. Smashing Magazine, the very last thing in the tutorials is, I love Smashing, y'all know this. They have an article called The User's Perspective, using story structure to stand in your user's shoes. And this is really a UX kind of thing, why you're doing this kind of stuff. So this is your homework. This is your homework from Professor Beej. I want you to read this article about using story structure, and I'm fairly certain that if you can take this to heart and really think about how you could apply it to your process, that looking at the user's perspective from looking at it like a story as they're moving through your product, that you'll be able to make better stuff. It's great. And very briefly, there is a lot of content in the resources that I just can't get to. But I want you guys to be aware of There was a kitchen sink WP, the article on should you sign an NDA. It's a podcast that is talking about whether, as a designer and developer, you should sign an NDA for a client, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, if it protects you or if it's just protecting them or if it is negative for you. Very, very interesting ideas. WP and Up with the podcast for helping each other out in the WordPress space. TorqueMag has an article, the third one down under resources, is trending cybercrime. That's what they're talking about is ransomware as a service. Think about that. You know, we're talking about software as a service all the time. Ransomware as a service. That there are people out there, there are developers putting out malware that other people who don't have the chops to code it themselves, that they can take it like Divi, like a plugin, like anything else, and then apply it and reap the benefits of, you know, stealing people's information and all of that. Like, it is an insane article that I had not heard about the idea of ransomware as a service until I read this article, and it is terrifying is the word that I would choose. Read that, and it should... and it absolutely will blow your mind that is out there. A lot of other stuff. I mean, how to use logs in WordPress security, Sketch versus Figma, Adobe XD, and like UI design applications, how they manage up, and then project management systems on Code Canyon. There's a bunch of those where, you know, I love project management software, and so when I see a list of them that you can just like get on Code Canyon, I had to include it. I see there's been some comments. I want to address that before I end up getting out of here. Video Superheroes says, I love Divi. It's fun to create with. It's bouncy and has a fun factor compared to other builders. That said, I'm just really hoping they take my performance suggestions seriously. We are. Like I said, we're working on that. And it's fun. I came from Visual Composer, and one of the things that sold me on Divi was using it was just more fun. It was just more pleasant to use. That our design team and development team have put a lot in on making it so that it is user-friendly in a way that it's not just easy to use, but pleasant to use. We take security very seriously. M. Newman asks about, in terms of security, XSS, how strong is Divi? We're very strong in that. Anytime that a security issue is brought to us and we patch, we make sure that we provide that to all customers, past and present, and future, obviously, because it's been patched. We want to make sure that you are comfortable as a user, that when anything is fixed in the future, even if you do a 1-year membership and don't ever update Divi again, you will get that patch and it will be fixed, regardless. So you don't have to worry about your site. That is something that's happened multiple times over the years since I've been here, and it is just, you'll get an email to your Divi account. So we do take it very seriously. Yep, there it is. Video Superhero said that. I didn't get the didn't get that far down. Transparent when they find a problem, offer free updates. Plus, Divi has BJ giving tips with support, and there's real value in that. Oh, thank you. I also will say, like I said, that's part of the community thing with Max streams on Mondays, with Jason and Donietta on Tuesdays, that we make ourselves very approachable for that. Yep, there you are. Video, you're saying everything that I could come up with. Other guys and gals making videos for elegant themes are really positive and enthusiastic. And Uncle Social's leaving Divi unless the dog calendar comes back. Next week, he might get rid of the Spider-Man lamp. I have been thinking about getting rid of the Spider-Man lamp. So brace yourself. It may be coming as I rearrange. All right, guys, all of that, I really, truly appreciate your comments this week. That's all the time I've got. You guys are wonderful. I hope that we've helped in some way. And I think Daryl Jordan on YouTube really has finished it out the best that we possibly could. Plus, Divi rules. All right, guys, y'all have a fantastic week. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And remember, we have Max stream on Mondays at 6 a.m. Eastern. And then Jason and Donyetta's use case streams are on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, at the same time as this stream. Make sure that you ring the bell on YouTube and tell Facebook that you want to be notified when we go live. Just following us and just subscribing don't get you the going live notifications. So if you want to know when we do this, if you don't remember the schedule, do that. And just really keep on being fantastic. We love you guys. We build for you guys. And I think you are awesome. So I will see y'all next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Bye, everybody.